The member of the Iranian parliament said, I'm writing to inform you that Imam Khomeini is in complete health and safety, just like during the 12-day war. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I believe like random statements. I think I need to see something with my own two eyes. I'm going to be very honest with all of you. Okay, here's our statement from Trump. Trump says in a Truth Social post, because, why not? He's always on Truth Social. He says, Khamenei, one of the most evil people in history, is dead. Fuck you, Trump. This is not only justice for the people of Iran, but for all great Americans. Yeah, you're risking your lives for Netanyahu, I guess. And those people from many countries throughout the world that have been mutilated by Khamenei. Okay, this is so stupid. He was unable to avoid our intelligence and highly sophisticated tracking systems and working close. Bro, the reports say he was martyred in his house. What do you mean he was unable to avoid your highly sophisticated tracking systems? Give me a break. Working closely with Israel, there was not a thing he or the other leaders that have been killed along with him could do. This is the single greatest chance for the Iranian people to take back their country. We are hearing that many of their IRGC military and other security police forces no longer want to fight. Yeah, why are missiles getting launched at every single U.S. airbase and Israel this very second, if that's true? And they're looking for immunity from us. As I said last night, now they can have immunity. Later, they only get death. Hopefully, the IRGC and police will peacefully merge with the Iranian patriots and work. This is the most ChatGPT-ass thing I've ever seen Trump post. He's like, he sits down before ChatGPT. He's like, how do I want to say that Netanyahu had to say, and told me I had to say Khamenei was martyred. And how do I convince the Iranians to rise up and overthrow the government? Because we don't want to send in U.S. troops. But Netanyahu's going to make me if I don't convince the Iranian people to rise up. What can I do? Blah, 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 blah. That process should be done. Okay. Blah, blah, blah.
All right, so we're getting new images from Tel Aviv. I think we should see this. So this is from Tel Aviv just a few minutes ago. And it looks like... the Iranians are hitting them too. I wasn't seeing much videos from the receiving end of those launches that we did see on our previous live from Iran towards Israel, but now we're getting some images. We all have to expect that there's going to be a lot of censorship when it comes to these things. It's the early stages of this conflict. We're obviously going to see a lot of footage coming out in the following hours. It's inevitable. It's inevitable to yeah. So most likely we're gonna see more footage in the following hours, but yeah. Well, this is it. This is Tel Aviv a few hours back. Al Ubaid Airbase in Qatar. It's being pounded as we speak. It has not stopped being pounded since yesterday, since the start of the exchanges. And yeah, now we're getting even different angles on some of the previous attacks that we've seen, including with drones. On this video here, we can see by the way, this is a drone that looks to be hitting a a residential building in Bahrain. Yeah. Listen, the whole whole fucking Middle East is fucking hot right now. It's hot out there, and all these monarchies are were probably expecting to have the air defenses working properly, but as we will going as we're going to see in the following video that I'm going to show you guys, uh, we obviously, yeah, we're gonna see how the air defense has been performing pretty poorly, at least when it comes to these U.S. installations in the Gulf area, including the fifth fleet base in Bahrain and Qatar, Al Ubaid Air Base, also in the UAE. We heard of the previous attacks on the U.S. bases in Kuwait, Iraq, and even Saudi Arabia. So we're gonna see a video now. Yeah, and there's some funny videos that I want to show you too. But first, let's take a look to this air defense performance on. So this is the U.S. air defense battalions in the Al Udeid Air Base in Qatar. This is a Patriot AD at work, or maybe not working. That's the title of the video. So you be the judges. So it looks like there's an Iranian ballistic on its way to attack targets in this base, and we see two Patriot missiles firing towards the missile that we can see somewhere here, and you can hear the soldiers, the U.S. soldiers, cheering in the back. I'm gonna raise the volume. So that's the third salvo launch of the missile, and you can see that the thing is, it's just coming in flames, bro. It's like a fireball going down. Yeah. Oof. Yeah, head count for sure, bro. I mean, y'all guys shouldn't be there, to be honest. Fuck that. Poor guys. All the U.S. Soldiers in these bases amount to somewhat like 50,000 towards throughout all the Middle East, and I mean that's a lot of targets for the Iranian missiles. I'm not sure what the initial assessment was or what the expectation was from the Iranian response, but it obviously backfired because now we have all these troops in the Gulf area that are just exposed. As you can see, the air defenses are not working properly, and if you go and the I mean, if you're honest with yourself, how are you going to protect all these troops against thousands of missiles who have not been even launched yet in big quantities? I've heard numbers of somewhat between 1,000 and 1,500 rocket salvos launched. I'm talking about ballistic missiles. I'm pretty sure that a similar amount of drones have been used already, primarily to suppress the air defenses before the arrival of these ballistics. But, I mean, what are you going to throw against all that? There's only so many interceptor missiles that are available to the US and Israel. So we're gonna see a lot of these videos coming out probably in the following hours, and yeah, I mean, this video here where it shows the air defense at work is not giving a lot of hopes, to be honest, because I mean the Patriots are performing pretty poor when it comes to these high velocity re-entry vehicles from the probably Fatah missiles from Iran. So yeah, we're getting some funny memes now here from Zelensky, of course. Yeah, yeah, bro. It's gonna be hard for you too. Uh, but yeah, I wanted to show you guys a video first. And this is a video that's coming from Bahrain, where you can see the local Bahrainis cheering on Iranian drones as they hit a US installation in their country, which is pretty interesting to find out that the locals hate Americans so much. I mean, yeah, you guys judge by yourself. But yeah, here's what we got on this video. Yeah, so they were pretty happy to see that Shahid drone hit that installation target, and we can see some images here on some of the drones that the Iranians have been shutting down on Iranian airspace, and yeah, obviously they've been shooting down a lot of drones. We've only got a few footage so far, but we sure will be getting more in the future. Now, Bahrain is being pounded pretty bad, not gonna lie. So we have here a lot of footage coming from towers burnt out, like this one here, and other civilian infrastructure being hit too. Not sure if this is by design or either the drones that have been swayed away from their targets, from interference from electronic warfare or jamming devices on the US bases that have swayed away these drones, and maybe they're hitting this infrastructure by mistake or just by human error. I don't think so, but yeah, it's interesting. So we're gonna watch more of what Jackson is talking about now, but I wanted to go through real quick some of the footage that I haven't seen yet. For example, here we have a fire on a Kuwaiti installation due to Iranian missiles arrivals. Yeah, so a lot of footage is coming out. I honestly was expecting to get more footage yesterday, but yeah, I think this is another video from the same attempted interception that we just saw a few minutes back. Basically the same same event on a different angle. Yeah, we can see the two interceptors going. We can see the Iranian ballistic approaching over there at very high speeds, obviously following a ballistic trajectory. It doesn't seem like it's maneuvering in any way, but it comes really fast. There's the third one. Last attempt. Nope. Yeah. Yeah, big hit over there. So what do we got here? An Iranian missile fell in Jordan as a result of the Jordanian air defenses intercepting it. So here's the problem with these. So the main problem when you're on the receiving end of these ballistic missiles is that you're gonna have to throw a bullet to hit a bullet. So if you do that, you're guaranteeing some debris going down anyways. So there's gonna be a lot of people affected from these too. Not just the arrivals, but also the interceptions are dangerous for the local population, especially because you can't you can't guarantee the safety of the public, because all this debris is going to be falling down at some point somewhere, and it's going to be killing a lot of people. So this is a very grave situation here that we have, because we're talking about thousands of missiles that are going to be raining down on all these countries in the following days or even weeks, if you believe some of the reports that we've been hearing. But yeah, scary stuff, man. Like, look at this video. Yeah, like, I don't know who that is. Fires and destruction at the Jebel Ali port, which welcomes American military ships in the UAE. So this is the UAE, guys. This is a military port that the US fleet uses to restock their ships, and we obviously are seeing the level of destruction that the ballistics have been causing. So yeah, we're getting a lot of arrivals. This is not going to be a walk in the park by any means, as we can see. So Israel keeps trying to make claims they got Khamenei. Yeah, I've already heard that. I haven't seen any convincing counter proof to that yet from the Iranians, but we have to wait and see, guys. This is very early, and we cannot jump to conclusions right away, because all this information is going to be very cloudy. We have to take this with a grain of salt. It obviously is going on, so I mean, there's an attempt being made at the moment by both the US and Israel, of course, to decapitate the regime. But we're seeing no videos whatsoever about that. The footage on the Iranian targets being hit by the US and Israel are very scarce, and we're not getting a lot of information on that regard. However, the Iranian foreign minister already came out to reassure everyone that their leader Khamenei and the president Pezeshkian are both in safety and sound. So, yeah, it's up to you guys to believe it at this point, but we are not getting anything to contradict that at the moment. So, I guess we should wait and see. Trump is monitoring the targeting operations against Iran. So I guess this all these guys in the bunker, everyone is yeah. Oof. So Iranian missiles in the sky over Tel Aviv. There we go. Boom boom Tel Aviv again, guys. This is what it is. Ooh. One arrival. Second. We can see the interceptor missiles going all over the place, trying to intercept these incoming threats. Yeah.
Regime preservation. Could you get a more pragmatic figure?
So here's a live broadcast from NBC News, and they just got one of the best shots I've seen so far on any arrival, and this was probably a few hours back. At yeah, a couple hours probably ago. But yeah, let's watch it closely.
I think that's what the calculation now is. Regime
Oof.
preservation. Could you get a more pragmatic figure presiding over this regime? Sure.
Aaron,
And that
I just want to break in for a moment because we're looking at live pictures in the air over Tel Aviv, and obviously, as many people know or maybe don't know, there is an Iron Dome that Israel uses as its missile defense system, and we're seeing it working now. But in some places and instances, it does not work, and I believe this is one missile feasibly that has broken through the Iron Dome.
Yeah, there's a lot of those though. US Patriot AD trying to shoot stop missiles in Doha. So this is Qatar. This is the US air defense trying to shoot down the incoming ballistics from Iran in Doha, Qatar. Yeah. Lot of missiles coming in. We see the interceptors working, trying to shoot down these missiles, but as we can see on this one here, this is the one that's coming by. It's gonna hit the target. We got an interception here. Another one, another interception. But yeah, all these lights like this, these are incoming missiles, and from the way that the light is emanating from them, it looks like these are frontal attacks, so probably pretty close to the area where the cameraman is shooting from. Which is very interesting. But here we have another video from Tel Aviv. Yeah. Interesting. And we can hear some explosions going on in the background, which means that not just the video that we're getting is capturing all what's going on. I think this probably the highest amount of missiles being used in any war so far. I mean, we're talking about possibly thousands of missiles have been used so far in just 1 day and a half. We're talking about a high intensity, high stakes military operation being done, both by the defensive and the offensive forces, which in this case, the US and the Israelis are the initiators of these military exchanges. Yeah, so we're getting more footage. So this is an image from Dubai's International Airport Terminal 3 after an Iranian missile impacted close by. What a shame. I have been in that airport before, and it's a beautiful airport. It's a shame to see it getting damaged like that, but hey. Yeah. Very sad. Fireform confirmed. Half-Life 3 confirmed. Unreal 3 confirmed. My gosh. Reuters reports that Trump has formally notified the government of Nibiru of Obama's disclosure of classified information concerning contact with extraterrestrials and requested their assistance in persuading the Norwegian Nobel Committee to reassign Obama's Nobel Peace Prize to Benjamin Netanyahu. What the fuck? Yeah.
The heavy and pinpoint bombing, however, will continue uninterrupted throughout the week or as long as necessary to achieve our objective of peace throughout the Middle East and indeed the world. They bombed a school, an elementary school this morning, and killed over 60 girls at the elementary school. Peace in the Middle East. Amazing. So, anyways, no confirmation from me, no confirmation from really anyone yet. Personally, my view on the situation is that I do not feel this is a very sad thing. It's a very dark thing, but I'm being honest with all of you. I would not be surprised if the reports are true. I would not be surprised if the reports are true. I hope from the bottom of my heart that I'm wrong about this. God forbid we see the announcement of the martyrdom of Ayatollah Khamenei, but we should not underestimate the enemies. We should not underestimate how demonic they are, their capabilities, and the lengths that they will go to achieve this demonic globalist regime, this Epstein regime. It is true. It may be true that he was martyred, and we need to continue to be prepared for the worst. Be prepared for anything. And, you know, I'm just saying this as a person who I remember in the first, hour after Maduro was captured, I had people in the government telling me that Maduro was fine in Caracas. And like they had made contact with someone who had contact with him and he was fine. I remember when people told me that Nasrallah had not been martyred. So
That's a good point. And that's why I haven't considered yet to discard the reports on the death of Khamenei, because I mean, there's a lot of disinformation at this stage of the conflict, and we cannot be swayed away by every piece of information that's coming out, of course. But since it came from the mouth of the devil himself, I guess whether we like it or not, we have to consider an official statement from the head of state of the Israel government, which is the devil himself, Netanyahu. And we would have to just wait to confirm this report. But obviously, there's the possibility that, in fact, the Khamenei has been taken out. I mean, we've seen footage that his compound has been pounded really hard. I've seen some satellite images, and I will see if I can pull them out. But obviously, they've been trying to get his head for a while, and I wouldn't be surprised either if this has happened. Wow, so this is a video that's coming out from Iraq. So this is at the let's see, what's the name of this airbase? So okay, so this is the Imam Ali Air Base, Iraq's largest airbase, and looks like some unidentified drones on Saturday evening have struck these facilities. And looks like what we're seeing is radars. So radar installations on this base have been destroyed by unidentified drones. We don't know if it's Israel, if it's Iran itself. I doubt that it's Iran. Most likely Israel, because the Iraqis, as we know, are probably relying all these data information to the Iranians, serving as an early warning system for the Iranians in Iraq. So probably it was the Israelis who did it. Of course, we don't know what the procedence of these drones is, so we would have to wait on that too. But I'm just speculating here, and I assume probably Israel is the one who did it. Yeah. All right. So this is a tweet from Congresswoman. I'm sorry, Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene, and she's saying, "We said no more foreign wars, no more regime change. We said it on rally stage after rally stage, speech after speech. Trump, Vance, basically the entire administration campaigned on it and promised to put America first and make America great again. My generation has been let down, abused, and used by our government our entire adult lives, and our children's generation is literally being abandoned. Thousands and upon thousands of Americans from my generation have been killed and injured in never ending, pointless foreign wars. And we said no more. But we are freeing the Iranian people. Please." Hey, perfectly articulated. I think it's perfectly articulated. I like where she's coming from, and I cannot do nothing else but agree with what she is stating on this communique. So, what is this? Dubai has fallen? Oh shit, all the bitches are going out. Bro, this is funny. This is funny for real. So, all Dubai bitches just fucking running away from those skyscrapers burning down. Oh shit, this is funny, man. Yeah, that's a good angle. Bro, AI is crazy. I love AI memes. What if the US sent half of its THAAD and SM-3 interceptors to the Middle East? How long could they last under June level firing rates? I mean, isn't that what they just did? Didn't they just send like half of all the US interception capability to the Middle East ahead of this? This is a very interesting breakdown of what's going on with the US air defense. So, parenthesis here. Let's get into it. So, what if the US sent half of its THAAD and SM-3 interceptors to the Middle East? How long could they last under June level firing rates? Let's break it down. So, THAAD, total US inventory post June 2025, 384 to 434 missiles. 384 to 434 interceptor missiles. That's the total inventory of US THAAD interceptor missiles. Supposing that they forwarded 50%, which is a big assumption, means that 190 to 215 missiles have been deployed prior to this attack during the buildup. 2 batteries forward, 96 missiles ready on those 2 batteries, which have 12 launchers. Remaining 94 to 119 missiles on the reload stock. Planned daily firing on a June tempo, it would last 8 to 12 days. Ready rounds 96, it means 8 days to 12 days. Yeah, so they have exactly that. 2 to 3.5 weeks. 2.5 to 3.5 weeks. So all the US have is a month worth, I mean at best a month worth of interceptor missiles. That's crazy. If we're just taking into account that 50% of the total stock has been forwarded, we're talking about just 6 to 7 days. Wow. Yeah, we're getting information, of course, from the economic part of the results of this endeavor we're going through now on the conflict with Iran, and obviously one of the people who are gonna take an L are the insurers. So they just canceled policies for any shipping that's going through or close by the Strait of Hormuz. Great. 50% in the common days. So it means that all these policies are going up 50% and unlikely to fall down anytime soon. Means that all the goods that they are shipping are going to raise in cost. Great. That's fucking awesome. Right. So this is the official communique when Trump declared that Khamenei is dead. So American Supreme Leader Trump makes bold claims on killing Khamenei. This is after he totally destroyed the Iranian nuclear program last year. Yeah, remember that, guys. I would love to read some of the comments. Not sure if he's alive, but it would be a historic retweet if he is. I agree. He's looking for an excuse to step out. Iran has made arrangements for if he was killed. I'm sure they did. It will be interesting when the footage emerges of Khamenei out in public or just responding to Orange Pig's message. My God. Yeah. Guys, we're getting more videos. It's crazy. What is this now? Oh, it's the same video. Never mind. I just saw that video. So, Russian Foreign Ministry's statement regarding military aggression of the United States and Israel against Iran. On the morning of February 28th, the US and Israeli armed forces carried out airstrikes on the territory of Iran. The scope and character of these military, political, and propaganda preparations that had preceded this reckless step, including the deployment of substantial US military forces to the region, leave no doubt that this is a deliberate, premeditated, and unprovoked act of armed aggression against a sovereign and independent UN member state, in direct violation of the fundamental principles and norms of international law. It is particularly reprehensible that these airstrikes are once again being conducted under the cover of the renewed negotiation process, ostensibly, I'm sorry, you guys get it, intended to secure long-term normalization of the situation around the Islamic Republic of Iran. This comes despite assurances conveyed to the Russian side indicating that the Israel had no interest in entering into a military confrontation with Iran. This is very interesting, guys. So this is what the Russians are saying after the airstrikes. Let me make sure we're using the right microphone. Awesome. Didn't check that earlier. Yeah, this is a long communique. So yeah, so basically the Russians are bitching about it officially through their diplomatic channels, which is expected. Pretty sure the Chinese have been doing the same. While the rulers of Bahrain are questioning their decision to allow the fifth U.S. based fleet, the U.S. Fifth Fleet to call their country home, the people seem somewhat happy about it. Yep. Meanwhile, the Patriot MLRS unguided MAME 104 arsenal continues to do fine job future-proofing the demilitarization of the Ukraine. Yeah, so that's the latest up to now, guys. We're probably gonna be watching
This
some of
sort of
these
stuff.
streamers comment on what's going on. I would love to go through that with you guys. All right, he just ended his stream. Probably will go and watch somebody else that's reporting on this.
Oh, we had I remember the parade we had down. They actually had a better parade back then than this thing that Trump put on last year. But here's Donald Trump. He promised no more needless wars. He promised no more casualties. The Americans expected him to keep that promise, and he's broken it. And they will not forgive him. I know I won't. I will not forgive him at all. He has disgraced himself. He's disgraced his country. And frankly, he's created grounds for impeachment because he has taken this country to war without congressional approval. Now, the members of Congress are cowards for not insisting on it.
Yeah.
So plenty of blame to go around.
Plenty of blame to go around, but the bottom line is it broke the Constitution. No matter what Congress didn't do, they did not declare a war. They did not authorize a war. So by definition, this was a high crime and a misdemeanor. So
Yeah.
we'll see what happens later on because it's all a political issue more than it is a right and wrong. But there is no question that the grounds have been laid based on what's happened so far.
Yeah,
We'll
and
see.
and when the body bags start coming home, which I think there will be casualties. Now, depends on whether or not Iran succeeds in sinking the Abraham Lincoln aircraft carrier or one of the destroyers. They do have a number of U.S. ships that are now bottled up in the Persian Gulf that are going to have to try to run if they want to get out. They're going to have to try to run the gauntlet because Iran's closed the Strait of Hormuz, and they've got the firepower with anti-ship missiles that they can sink a U.S. ship. And I don't doubt that they're going to try. They made quick work of a huge radar, one that was a critical radar, covered like 5,000 kilometers in every direction. That's gone, and so actually the ability of the United States to necessarily detect what's coming its way they may be blind now. So this was extraordinarily
Wow.
stupid. Yeah, there's the photograph. To launch this without a clear objective in mind. What's the objective? Well, if it was to decapitate, well, they failed already. If it was to incite an uprising because they've been lying to themselves, telling themselves that 80% of the Iranians want to get rid of the Ayatollah, and that poll was produced by basically CIA money routed through National Endowment for Democracy and USAID. So we basically lied to ourselves. We created a lie, spread it, we believed our own lie, and now we're acting on it. And, Iran's got ballistic missiles. They're mobile. I mean, I was listening to Pompeo. God, I'm glad he lost weight because he can finally get his skinny head up his ass. All right. When he had fat head, it was a little difficult.
It was a little difficult. And by the way, let me there's one other here because for all of his enthusiasm here, he might have been outdone by General Jack Keane, who almost did a bit of a victory dance. Watch this.
This is a very comprehensive, well thought out campaign that I've seen the details of, and it's nothing short of remarkable. And we've got to stick with it and make certain that we accomplish our military objectives here. We may be able to end it sooner than planned. 2 to 3 weeks is the planning window. But if the regime begins to fall apart and collapse, and the capabilities are not able to respond, and we take down most of it, then we may be able to shorten that window.
So, yay, man, this was only going to be a 2-week war, and now maybe it'll be coming down because, hey, everything's going well. We got a great plan. Everything's coming according to plan. What say you?
Remember our great plan to stop the Houthis from closing off the Red Sea? And in that case, we had 2 aircraft carriers in the Red Sea, not just one. We had 2, and we had more destroyers. We had command of the air. We weren't facing ballistic missiles that were raining down on us by the dozens, if not hundreds. So what happened? Well, the fact of the matter is we reached the limits of our capabilities. And what the United States is now discovering quickly, I'm not sure it's penetrated the thick skull of someone like Keane, but the limitations on the poor performance of the Patriot missile, number one. So I just watched, I saw in Tel Aviv, I counted at least 20 Patriots that were fired up in the air, and it looked like they only intercepted 1 or 2 inbound missiles. And remember, you fire 2 Patriots for every inbound bogey. When you're burning through, let's say, 100 Patriot missiles a day, trying to stop 50, because 50 times 2, 100. In 8 days, you will have consumed an entire year's production of Patriot missiles. That's just 8 days. Now, what do you do about the next 8 days? The same thing with that. That's an even dicier and more expensive
much more expensive. Yeah,
like 13 million, and there's only like 125 of those total. So Iran's in a very good position. They are going to continue to launch missiles. They started off with some of their weaker, some of the missiles that weren't as powerful. One to draw fire from Israel and the United States. But, we're not getting a lot of reports about what's happened to the U.S. military bases, other than they've been hit hard. And so these operations that are on the plan, I know the planners fully intended that they would still have access to those bases because they thought, this Iranian ballistic missile capability, it's nothing. Well, now they're finding out they were wrong. And so this is, I think this has the potential to drag on for quite a while.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to ask you. So it looks like it, and I was just before you came on here. I was exhibiting. I was absolutely shocked. At least what's been reported, and I have to caveat again. All I can say is what's been reported. We'll find out how much of this was true. But what's being reported is that the Ayatollah, along with a lot of the senior leaders, were in the Ayatollah's compound when an airstrike came in and apparently killed a lot of them. And I was shocked that they would meet above ground with all those people when it was clear as a bell that there was an impending attack that was going to come in. I don't know why they would have taken that risk, but if it's true, that would be crazy. So in any case, it looks like, if that's true, that they're kind of on their back heels, at least at the top level, et cetera. Everything that what both Jack Keane and Mike Pompeo were talking about there, for that to work and for it to, quote, shrink down, and for what President Trump said, I showed his Truth Social before you came on as well, where he's doing almost a victory lap of his own about the death of Khomeini and saying that he's dead, and that he said all the IRGC and the police and everybody else should give up while they still get a chance. Everything hinges upon having the IRGC and the military apparatus throughout the country of 93 million to give up. Because if they don't give up, then I think, and this is what I'd like to ask your opinion of, is that based on what they did, and we'll just take a narrow sample, during the 12-day war, they were really on their back foot for the first day or so. But then when they kind of got their bearings back around, that's when some of the bigger shots started following after that. What do you think is the case here if Iran does get its feet back under it?
Oh, it didn't take him any time at all. Remember, in June, they got hit, and it was about 12, 13 hours later that they finally got off their first missile firing back at Israel. It took them about 10 to 12 hours to get everything back online. It took them 45 minutes to an hour this time. So they were ready. They'd prepared for this. They were not sitting back ignoring what was going on. And in fact, you can't rule out that they got a heads up from both Russia and China. They're coming. I mean, ourselves, we were hearing all this rumor yesterday.
Right.
And you think they're not listening?
Exactly. A lot of this was coming over X, so it was out there in the public sphere.
So the Russians were evaluating it and saying, yeah, let's get ready, guys. Here they come. Now, and so to that extent, the Ayatollah, alive or dead, it doesn't matter. It really doesn't, because what this is all predicated on is this belief that and this is why they're putting out now, the Ayatollah's dead. He's dead. He's dead. It's like the end of the movie of Harry Potter. Harry Potter's dead. Then he comes back to life and wipes out all the bad guys. Maybe we'll see the Ayatollah in sort of a similar light. But they're trying to create a message for the Iranian people that we get the Iranian people. Oh yeah, he's dead. Let's go take over the government. It's a bureaucracy, for God's sake. It's not one guy. It's not a tribal leader. So this foolishness. They think that they got away with bribing the Venezuelans.
Yeah,
bribing the Venezuelan military, getting them to play ball. They're not going to. That will not fly in Iran. And look, several Iranian leaders came in for criticism last June for cutting the deal with the United States and stopping the destruction of Israel. They're not going to make that mistake twice. I guarantee that. I've not talked to them. They haven't sent me a note, but I just watching what they've endured over the years. And in the face of these Western lies that they are the number one sponsor of terrorism, which they're not. That they are.
Hang on just a second, Gary. That's Tel Aviv you're showing right there. Is that right? So
yes, indeed, it is. Yes.
Okay, that is the first major shot I've seen inside of Israel since this began. That's a big deal right there.
And more to come. Iran's not going to stop. I think they're going to tend to launch at night as opposed to daylight to hit factories, plants, intelligence headquarters, etc., when there are fewer people, less chance of killing civilians. The Iranians are not big on killing civilians.
So that doesn't strike me. Along with that image that we showed of this barrage of missiles that were going in Dubai that we showed. I don't remember if you had come on yet, but that's something else.
Oh, yeah.
So there's a lot of missiles
Yeah,
coming in
yeah.
there as well. We can imagine that's going to continue on. Let me ask you something else. One of the other developments that's happening here later in the afternoon is that there's a claim that the IRGC has given verbal instructions that the Strait of Hormuz is closed and no one can go through it. I saw, it's about 2 hours ago now, the last I saw, but there's one of the sites that does the tracking of all the ships in there says that basically everybody had frozen, so no one was going in or out, and so they were just sitting in there by choice. Nobody had been attacked, nothing had happened yet. What is the implication if that turns out to be a blockage and not just the order? Meaning, if somebody decides they're going to try and enforce that and get out, what is the significance of that?
Well, number one, Iran is well equipped with anti-ship missiles on shore that can easily interdict any of those ships. The U.S. has tried to destroy a couple of the naval vessels there in the region, but the Iranians also are fighting back. But that's 21 to 25% of the world oil supply on a daily basis coming out of the Persian Gulf. I believe them. I believe they've frozen it. So no more oil coming out, and that is going to lead to significant economic problems. And we sort of had a clue a couple of weeks back that China was anticipating this, that because it started buying extra oil and shoring up its reserves. So they took steps to prepare for this. Other countries like India and Japan, they're not going to be so lucky. And given sort of this, god awful sex show that was put on the other day with Modi of India and Benjamin Netanyahu, I mean, it was obscene. But I can't see Iran being too eager to help supply India with any oil. Hey, you want to go kiss Israel's ass? No, fine, get the oil from them. I think that'll be Iran's attitude. So this really does have the potential. Remember, it came to potential to drag out for quite a while. And let's recall that last June, it ended because the United States and Iran, with I don't know if it was brokered by Saudi Arabia or who, but they made a deal that Iran would get one last shot at Al Udeid, one missile strike, and that the United States would get to bomb the Iranian sites and declare victory, and it'd be all over, and then we'll all go about our way. Well, it didn't turn out that way, and so again, Iran has been burned. The old, fool me once, shame on you, but fool me twice, shame on me. It's my fault. This is Iran's fault if they go for this again. And they got played. They got played by believing that this peace process that was underway with Witkoff and others was sincere. And sort of the fallout from this, I believe, is because of the deception that Witkoff used in this, where they pretended to be serious about negotiating. I think we're going to find out, we'll discover that the Russians are they'll stop taking Witkoff's call. They're not going to deal with him anymore.
Yeah, why would anybody? Why would anybody deal with any of us right now? I mean, it just wounds me to say this of our own country. But I mean, we're just nakedly saying, yeah, we want to enter into negotiations. And when we get handed on a golden platter, here's a deal that could have avoided war and given you what you wanted, what you said you wanted above all, which was the nuclear component, no enrichment capacity. What they had, they would get rid of. And then they even put on the table long-range missiles and the proxies. They said, we'll deal with that separate, but at least it's on the table. And no, we can't even have that. And so we launched hours later, we launch a war. I mean, this to me, just completely poisons the water for any kind of negotiation for the U.S.
Yeah. No, I mean, the United States is not a trustworthy partner. And again, Russia's been burned before in the whole Minsk II, Minsk I process. So, I don't see Iran willing to be conciliatory now, especially since, from President Pezeshkian's, they tried to kill him again. They went after, bombed his residence, bombed his office. And again, that tells me some of the Iranian leadership, they knew it was coming, and they had time to get away and prepare, and that's why you're seeing this CIA information operation roll out. Oh, we killed everybody! Rise up, Iranians! Rise up! And when they don't rise up, I can see at some point down the line, Trump's going to blame them. Well, we did everything we could to help you, and you guys just didn't take advantage of it. So, too bad. We're going to walk away.
Well, we'll see what's going to happen with that one. But there's one more victory lapper that I want to put up there who's ready to do the victory dance on the carcasses of Ayatollah, and that is, I hate to do this to you on a Saturday, Lindsey Graham.
Oh, God.
It's going to be messy, but here's the big picture. With the fall of the largest state sponsor of terrorism, the pathway to peace and prosperity in the Mideast is going to be wide, and it's going to be long, and it's going to be a 1,000-year moment here. If this regime falls, Hamas, Hezbollah, and the Houthis, terrorist network supported by Iran, will collapse slowly but surely. The mothership of terrorism is about to go down. There's a new dawn coming in the Mideast. There's an opportunity for the region to build on the Abraham Accords started in President Trump's first term. This is the most significant thing that's happened in my lifetime. It's the most significant thing that's happened in the Mideast in 1,000 years.
In 1,000 years, Larry, what do you think about that?
Yeah, was it the Sam Cooke song? Don't know much about history. Don't know much about biology. That's Lindsey Graham.
Do much about it, anything at all?
Not at all.
Finish it.
And it's not a wonderful world with him in it.
No.
You know, when he's describing the number one sponsor of terrorism going down, is he talking about the United States? Because in fact, the United States is the number one sponsor of terrorism in the world, both in terms of deaths and actions, followed closely by Israel, but it's not Iran. I mean, that's just again, that's been a persistent lie and myth put out. It's not backed up by the numbers. And again, just I refer people again to the State Department's annual report on terrorism. They got a statistical annex. So what we're seeing here is this. You know, this is the early. We're not even 24 hours into this, and they're popping the champagne corks. Well, the United States it doesn't. They don't understand how much damage has been done to those U.S. bases. And we don't know.
And by the way, since Gary's showing that right now, let me ask you your question on that, because these are reportedly images inside of Iran, and the fact that you have a drone that's hovering over it, taking these pictures while other things come in, that also implies that there's some pretty good, significant weaknesses in the Iranian air defenses as well. What can this tell you about that?
There's also this thing called artificial intelligence, where you can recreate movies and make it look like it is real. So we don't know. This it could very much be just a propaganda piece, or even something drawn out from Ukraine. So I don't put a lot of stock in that. Let's see what the air ops are. You know, what we're seeing on the ground right now. The commentary that's coming from different. I've been on Al Jazeera. I've been on RT, and then there was Arakchi. He was being interviewed by NBC of all people. They're not running around with their hair on fire. They're talking. The streets were calm. There were some explosions that went off, and they killed an estimated 105 little girls.
Is it up to 105 now?
Yeah, 105. So that's what the United States is good at, killing children.
Do we know who actually fired that? Was it Israeli or an American missile? Do we even know?
We don't know. We don't know. But
doesn't matter, I guess.
Yeah, we facilitated either we did it directly or we facilitated. So we're accessories.
Yeah, it's hard to me imagine. With killing the Ayatollah, it's hard for me to imagine how the IRGC of all people, that's ideological in many regards, or the military, is just going to say, "Okay, you killed our kids and you killed our leaders. Okay, we surrender." I mean, I just don't see that.
Well, and let's, again, people forget that 1980 to 1989, Iran fought a bloody war.
That's a great point.
With Iraq. They lost at least over 300,000 people. Some estimate that it could have been higher than that. They didn't give up. They fought, and they were fighting a proxy of the United States because we, the United States, had helped arm Saddam Hussein, equipped him with the chemical precursors and taught him how to make mustard gas that was used against the Iranians. Iran didn't give up. They continued to fight. So, they, and 250,000 is a substantial number of people when you've got a population at the time, it was 80 million. So, those are enormous losses. So
This is the school, by the way, that Larry was talking about a second ago. It was 85 dead earlier. If he's saying there's more now, but this is where it happened.
And all those people, they're going to be enraged.
Yeah.
I mean, this just turns the venom on against the United States, and that's why we haven't seen a lot of attacks on Israel today. I mean, there's been some, but I think the Iranians are focusing on the U.S. military bases to make those unusable, and to force redeployment because we did have a couple of squadrons of F-35As based at the Prince Sultan base in Saudi Arabia. Well, that's under attack now, so they're going to pull those F-35s out of there. Where are they going to go? Probably to Cyprus. And so then you got longer legs that you got to fly.
Right.
More tankers, and it's going to complicate U.S. operations.
More gas, yeah.
Yeah.
Gas is going to be a big issue. Let me ask you a question here also. You mentioned you referred earlier to the Ayatollah being, if he in fact is dead, him being the one guy that has been saying, I have a fatwa against nuclear weapons and I have forbade anyone to go, even though there's been a lot of conversation over the last several years in Iran to go that direction. Well, if he is indeed off the chessboard now, as Lindsey Graham likes to talk a lot about, what is the possibility, do you think, that those who follow in behind him may say, you know what, this proves that the only way that we can defend our country is to have a nuclear weapon and rush to the bomb? What do you think about that possibility?
Oh, I absolutely think it's highly possible. In fact, the majority of opinion in Iran, at least according to Professor Morandi, is absolutely in that camp. They think, hey, we've been played the sucker long enough. Nobody does this to North Korea. Let's get a nuke and they'll leave us alone. That attitude is there, and Iran certainly has the technical capability to do it. But the point is, they've chosen not to do it. And this claim that they're out, quote, destabilizing the area, they fought in Syria against the radical Islamists who attacked us on 9/11. They should have been our ally. Instead, we portray them as this evil force, killing and disrupting the region, when they were standing up against the very Sunni radical Islamic terrorists that we allegedly were trying to fight against. And then we find out later, hell, we were paying them. We're funding them. We're even helped train them. But we'd like to keep up this mythology. Oh, yeah, we got to go fight terrorism. And we claim it's Iran. It's not Iran. So
and Larry, you talk about coming up with interesting justifications or so in fiction. President Trump this morning, when he first announced this to the nation, made a couple of statements here that I think are really important. I'd like your view on them. First one, he's going to play what's the justification for this war, and then the second one, he's going to say what the objectives are. I want to see what you think about those. First of all, for the justification.
Its menacing activities directly endanger the United States, our troops, our bases overseas, and our allies throughout the world. For 47 years, the Iranian regime has chanted death to America and waged an unending campaign of bloodshed and mass murder, targeting the United States, our troops, and the innocent people in many, many countries. Among the regime's very first acts was to back a violent takeover of the U.S. Embassy in Tehran, holding dozens of American.
I'd like to ask President Reagan what you think of President Trump.
Cuba as this operation in Florida where it's where they open up these little these PO boxes for durable medical equipment, is like knee braces and wheelchairs, and then they don't have any knee braces or wheelchairs, but they have patient identification numbers. So they just claim to be shipping them to people. And we found one hotel, it had like 129 rooms, and every one was a different company that was selling durable medical equipment. And we go in and shut them down, and they immediately go back to Cuba. And the whole thing is apparently run by the Cuban government. And this is what happened in Minnesota. These organized crime companies would come in and say, you designate this family, you designate all your children have autism now, even if they didn't. And we're going to now pay providers for each of them, and we'll give you a few $1,000s to do it, but then they would collect all the money. And that's what was happening. It's happening all over the country because there was it's very, very difficult. The guardrails on that system were very pervious, and anybody can defraud it. If you are inclined to do fraud, this was an irresistible opportunity.
How long was this going on for? Like, when did this fraud begin, do you believe?
It really accelerated during the Biden administration. We expected to pay for the Minnesota program just for autism care for kids who have autism. The kids need the care because, they go to maybe a special school, but then they come home from school and the parents aren't there because they're working. So who's going to take care of them? So in legitimate circumstances, you would want to pay for that. But what happened is they just started this wholesale fraud. We expected the cost of that program to be about $3 million a year in Minnesota, in Minneapolis. It got up over a 3-year period, it got up to $400 million a year. So it was all fraudulent, almost.
I just don't understand. So this accelerated during the Biden administration,
Yeah.
but when did it begin? Like, how long has it been going on?
Program integrity. They told people in my agency, and I've talked to them, we don't want to do program integrity anymore. We now just want to focus everything on enrollments. In other words, enrolling more people in Obamacare and the programs. And, you could say there was bad motives there.
Yeah, bad motives. Where's the Ascalon gas platform? Wonder. Yeah, We're gonna be back online soon, guys, when we have more information. Thank you for watching, whoever did watch, and please subscribe and smash the like button. Thank you very much.